Hello, my name is Matthias Elsässer. I'm the author of the book Intelligent Data-Driven Marketing, and today I want to speak about smart KPIs. So far we learned a lot. So we have seen the Gedankenexperiment 1.0 and 2.0, which is an initial frame of reference which gives us a system where we're able to find out what are the underlying measures in the system for marketing. And we found out the real measures we are able to see within a system is for sure the size of the universe and the impressions we are throwing towards the audience we see in our campaign, which is the room in my initial frame of reference. And what we are then able to see is the conversion and how many people just went into the corner of this room and bought one of these cups to put their ball in. I hope you remember my nice example of throwing balls toward an audience. And what we now should think about, what are we able to do with this? Because for sure we can't steer a marketing department with measures. And I think this is the main topic of today. Where's the difference? So we take the measures and we start calculating out of the measures KPIs. And that's a principle I think everybody is aware of. I never have found any CMO in the world who is arguing against this. But what I've seen a lot of marketing departments who are not acting on this, who are not able to really find out what are the right KPIs. For that reason, we have to think about what are the right KPIs. So we can go in now and calculate the GRPs for some kind of marketing pressure we put onto the market. We can calculate conversion rates across a journey to find out the total conversion rate. We can calculate integrated reach. These are real KPIs, which then helps us to really steer our dedicated marketing goals. And this is where your business model, your marketing strategy then fits to my initial frame of reference, because this is individually defined by you. If somebody would copy this, then it's not worse, because then it's easy, then it's me too. So that should be really individually defined for you, your strategy. And then what you're doing, you're taking this initial frame of reference and see, these are the 5-6 measures I'm able to measure, and how am I able now to define KPIs, which helps me exactly find out whether I run in the right direction or not. And this is what we call smart KPI system, to really taking the measures and not thinking about the next measure. That doesn't make sense. I've seen people overwhelmed by their web analytics tools because you get hundreds of measures and KPIs in the system. But that's not true. At the end, it's all the same measures, and you have to calculate exactly the KPIs you'd like to have. This is the first part of this smart KPI. And now we can think about further what does smart KPI means, because this doesn't end here. We should also think about the madman to mathman journey, which we have learned. Because most of the KPIs I've seen are on the data-driven piece. So this in the middle, where a lot of organizations just stops on their journey towards customer-centric transformation. So if we really are customer-centric, we are able to also calculate an isolated profile in form of propensities, churn rates, and whatever. So we start scoring really dedicated profiles. So smart KPI also means, beside the definition of bold KPIs, which helps you to control your marketing strategy, on the opposite side to calculate dedicated scores for each single profile. And within this profile then use these scores to do the retargeting, the personalization, the next best action algorithms. So this is the next part of a smart KPI implementation. And then we have two further things we have to have in mind. The one is, how do we want to work with these KPIs? And there we automatically enter the area of data and analytics. And data and analytics can be split into 3 pieces. So if you start thinking about smart KPI, you should also start thinking about what is the way I want to share my standard reports. This is all what we know. But you have to enhance this, because just sharing reports isn't enough, because you have to work individually on the measures and on the scores in the profiles to do further things. And this is working with explorative data cubes. So instead of sharing an isolated report, you start sharing the data itself in a predefined cube. And this is what we call explorative reporting. And based on this explorative data cubes, the core data points, which are the underlying basement for these data cubes and reports, you can add the third discipline. And this is data science. So really installing data scientists who are working on the core of your data on the fundamental base of a single customer interaction and use this data. So smart KPI means, beside definition of the bold KPIs, beside the scoring, also to think about reporting, explorative data management, and data science. And then finally, and that's for me the most important piece I've seen in the smart KPI, you have to think about how to act on these insights, because it doesn't make sense just to generate insights and then not being able to do something. And I've seen a lot of marketing departments who have done a huge investment in data analytics and have done all these things, and then they had the best data scientists. The only thing they could do with their insight was sending out a personalized email, or even were not able to personalize their emails and whatever. So you really then have to close the loop into an agile marketing and install on the one hand side a process which is agile, which runs really in short circles and take the insights to do the next circle a bit better than the previous. And the other thing which you have to have in mind is in this agile marketing, you also need a platform which allows you to really customize your customer experience, that you're able to influence the behavior. We had this from Madman to Mathman. So that means, beside the scoring, you need some kind of segmentation, journey management, personalization, and recommendation within your complete ecosystem on every touch point installed. Otherwise, you're not able to work with the data. And this is what we call smart KPI.